Welcome guys, Adam here, Blackfyre Productions. I'm going to show you what's on my hobby desk, or what has been on my hobby desk recently, as well as what is coming up in my plans for the next little while. First off, happy holidays. I hope everybody's having a safe and enjoyable holidays, or will be having a safe and enjoyable holiday season. Things kind of are slowing down a little bit here, just with the holiday season for myself. Obviously, with 3 young children at home, and all my friends are busy with stuff, and I'm busy with my own family stuff, it's just a very hard time to get actual matches and stuff like that in. But doesn't mean that I'm not hobbying. I'm still hobbying. We should always be igniting our hobby and just going from there. So I've been a little bit busy with some Necromunda content recently. I shouldn't say content, products. I've been busy working on some Necromunda content, or products, since the release of the Dark Uprising. So I have those that I'll be showing off today. As well, I have a plan of adding another, I don't have it here, another model to my Eagle list in the official Gwahir model from Forge World. And then, let me see, I've done some tiles for from GW, so the new Zone Mortalis tiles. I'm waiting on some more Marvel Crisis Protocol models to come in, or become available here in Canada. I guess they release on the 20th, and I'm filming this 2 days before the 20th. I've seen stores have started receiving them here in Canada. Well, Black Panther and Killmonger, as well as the train pack. So I'm super excited for that. I just haven't been able to get them myself yet. But as soon as I do, I'm going to be painting those guys up. But yeah, I've been painting up a lot of Necromunda at this point in time, and trying to work my way through that Dark Uprising box. There's just so much stuff in it. Anyhow, let's get down to the table. I'll show you actually what I've been working on and going from there. Alright, so here we are. This is the first thing I'm going to be showing off for that's I've had on my hobby table. It is like I said, the new Zone Mortalis tile set, or floor tile set. I've already did an unboxing of them, and so this is just more or less the finished product. So you have like some wear and tear, some orange weathering and metals and stuff like that. I'm not trying to make them too bright. I'm not trying to do anything too big with them. I'm literally just trying to get them table ready and go from there. But like, yeah, so you can see that's a paint job that I did on them. I have, with the Dark Uprising set, obviously the train to go on there. I'm hoping to pick up a second box of it to add it on there. So so that has been one project that I've been working on recently. You might have seen some photos of some guys, so I'll do them in order that I've painted them. So you have this guy here. Let me see if I can show you there. So this is a Apollos cage. And so I've been really trying a new way of painting my Necromunda stuff. And that is using, yes, a lot of contrast paints, but it's starting off with a zenithal highlight. So basically what I've done is sprayed it all black, the model, then did like a Mechanicus standard gray on him, and then I went and did so sort of like a zenithal highlight style, so up top over the majority of his body. And then I did like a gray sear rattle can as well over top, just hitting the top raised areas. And then watered down, well, not watered down, but using the contrast medium to start using that to lighten or dilute the contrast paints a little bit so it doesn't go on as thick. And then going over the zenithal highlights, you can see like in the black robe, that was the style of effect. So what I did on the robe also, before putting any contrast paints, I should say on him period, was I went over some of the more like raised areas and did like a highlight of, I think it was a solid gray sear, instead of just like a quick like dusting of it. And you can see like with the contrast paints how it's the red in there transitions and everything else when you start using the mixing medium, or mixing the contrast medium with the paints over the zenithal highlights, but it gives them a little bit of a darker, grittier sort of look, which is what you would imagine from Necromunda. If I'm actually painting things as well, instead of going and just putting on like base paints. So say I want to use, I don't know, Steel Legion Drab. Do I have it on here? I don't actually have it on here. I'll show you on the next model, or later models. So Steel Legion Drab, say I want to use that, instead of actually going and just putting it straight out of the pot, what I've done is mixed it like 2 parts to the paint to 1 part black, so Abaddon black. Really darkens it up as a base color, and then I paint it on. You also don't get the pigments, like the brown pigments in the paint, and so it starts sort of like changes it slightly more to like the black and gray scale of colors, and so it really dulls it out, which again for Necromunda is what I think is really good. So yeah, so we got a Paulus Cage there. He'll be maybe making an appearance sometime in my battle reports for Necromunda, so welcome to the Underhive segment. We then have Krotos Hark. So again, this guy was the exact same style, zenithal highlights, stuff like that, and I just promise you, this does show up better and show up more red in person. I had Ian over last night. We were playing some Middle-earth SBG, and we were filming, and Ian's only saw a picture of this online, and he was like, "Ooh, the red looks really good in person," because like it's actually done over lead belcher, and then it is the Flesh Terrors. I think it's Flesh Terrors. Yeah, Flesh Terrors red with the contrast medium over top to get this still metallic sheen to it, and then Null Oil to sort of help bring it down as well and darken it. But like, if you look on the back, you can see like the skin tones and stuff like that using like the contrast paints over like blacks and grays and stuff. Really darkens it up. Gives it like a duller, dirtier look, which is what I was sort of hoping for. So that's Krotos Hark. You got some green in there as well, just to sort of give it some color instead of the dark reds and stuff like that. But yeah, and the weathering around the boots and everything, so I've been working on him. Up next, some of you guys might have seen this model, well, these guys already on a battle report. So this is one of the original enforcers that I painted up. So it's a patrolman, and you can see the Steel Legion Drab down there. I painted that up with the black, and then mixing the black with the Steel Legion Drab, and building it back up to the Steel Legion Drab. And then if you were going to highlight the Steel Legion Drab, just add a little bit of white to it to still keep it like a dull color. I'll show you on the next guys as well. But yeah, so that's the original one, or one of the original models I painted for it 3-4 months ago. And so I was trying to make sure that I got him looking, or the other Palanite guys that I have from the Dark Uprising box, the Subjugators, I wanted them to look close to the other models, obviously, in color and scheme. And so like I was trying to remember my my paint scheme that I used on them, and then I couldn't. But anyhow, so there's the Subjugators. Maybe they're not as blue as the Patrolmen, but that's generally it. They're pretty close though, I think. Right? They'll pass. So there's mix of contrast paints as well as regular paints and everything else. So you can see the circular symbol in the top part. That top part there was, what color did I use? Corn red as its base, mixed with black, then relayered with corn red, and then a little bit of a highlight in the corner there when I mixed white into the corn red just as the highlight. Metallic sort of glaze on the glass sort of mirror, some weathering and stuff like that. But you can see on the pads there, again, it's the Steel Legion Drab with the black mixed in to really darken it up. Even the armor itself, it was all darkened up and everything. I think I used Thunderhawk Blue as a base mixed with black on this guy. Can't remember the exact paint scheme on the originals, but Thunderhawk Blue with black mixed in, built it back up. And then, because it was still very gray, I had to add a little bit of a blue wash into it to sort of tint it back towards the color of my original patrolman. But yeah, so flesh tones, everything else. I did the stubble on the hair. That was just watering down some gray, really, really thin, then painting it up. The same with the beard and stuff. And then the eyes. Been trying to work on some eyes. You got like a little scar over his head. Can I show you there? Yeah, there we go. There's his face. So that's his face. And then, yeah, so just weathering contrast paints on the black part. That was the very first thing that I did. And then highlight it with Eschen Gray and go from there. So yeah, so we got a bunch of these guys done. So we got that's going to be my champion. So I already did a battle report, and I said that one of the guys was a subjugator. Didn't know that these guys at the time when I made the battle report were coming out. But yeah, so that's the first one. And he will be my champion of my team, or my Ice It Red 6. All right, up next is another model. Not that I have him yet in the games that I use them for, but it's just another subjugator with one of the battering rams and grenade launchers underneath. I know a lot of people are like, well, you can't use a grenade launcher when, you know, it's out like that. Well, it's a melee weapon, but if you look inside here, it's spring. It looks like it's a coil or a spring in there, so it almost looks like it's engaged, stuck back, so the grenade launcher will actually sit basically flush with that bottom section, and then be able to shoot through that hole right there. But yeah, so that's the second guy. Did a bunch of weathering and everything again, especially on the front. So I took like some Mornfang brown after everything and just like really watered it to get down, similar to how I did the hair on the other guy, but just not as watered down, and sort of like put it underneath all the rivets and everything like that. So yeah, so he's looking pretty good. And then you have my grenade launcher guy in the gang. I tried to do some damage on the shoulder pad. I think I need to touch it up with a little bit of blue, just so it's not so brown up on the shoulder pad. But yeah, so that's that. And then the last one is just another basic enforcer or subjugator that I made up. The visors basically are lead belcher. And then they have some of the old Gilliman blue glaze over top of it to taint it. That's so bad. Tint it, the blue color that I'm looking for. And then I added a black towards the bottom, a Nuln Oil wash to darken up the bottom aspect of it. And that's the same thing that I did with the glass on the front, is I just took like Nuln Oil wash and put it across. Because they're both glasses. But yeah, so that's that. Bases are all done the exact same way. So it's like lead belcher. Some of them have like, what is the effects, the typhus corrosion on it, and then dry brushed a brown, followed by the dry, like the orange, like Riza rust or whatever it is, just to darken it up. So, but yeah, so that's those guys. The last guy that I sort of worked on, finished him off the day before this filming, is actually one of my corpse grinders. So Steve on the Sub Radio community group, I believe he's actually part of the podcast. I don't know who actually runs the podcast. I'm a terrible person. I should probably get more involved in the communities and stuff. But he posted a picture of his corpse grinders, and it's a very, very dull sort of colored, and I loved it. It was like bloody and black and dark and dull, and then you have like the whites that pops, and then all the red that's on it and that. So like, yeah. So I decided to copy his paint scheme. You can see here, that's his face. And so I basically, I didn't do exactly the same paint scheme as him, because he used non-contrast paints, where I use a lot of contrast paints on these guys. So basically the armor and pants and everything were contrast paints. So again, I did the Zenithal highlights the same, but I start with a Mechanicus standard gray. Then I went Gray Seer, and then after that I went, Wraithbone, the white, just a dusting on top. So the contrast paints, I used the black as the base for the armor over that, and then highlighted it Eschen Gray. And then for the white, I put a lot of the Apothecary white on it, and then highlighted it with a I think it was Gray Seer, and then a final edge highlight of White Scars mixed with Gray Seer, just to give it that depth a little bit. So you can see it there. You can't. There you go. There's a dark brown on here, and that was basically the Black Templar contrast paint with Witchwood brown, I think it's wood, or Wildwood brown, and then a little bit of Agros Dunes mixed in as well, just to give it some extra like color. Not that you can really see, but like it is a brown in person. And obviously Lead Belcher for the no, sorry, actually I used Ironbreaker mixed with black for the metal, and then no, actually it was just straight Ironbreaker with Nuln Oil over top and blood. But yeah, so that's the guy. That is the guy there. And then the blood on the back and everything. And then after everything, so like on the black, what I did is I did another layer of highlights after the Nuln Oil and the original highlights of the Eshin Gray. And it was Eshin Gray mixed with Dawnstone. And then, yeah, that was just the final highlights, just to bring it back out and stuff. So, yeah. And then the blood effect was literally, I stippled it on, grabbed like a firm brush and like just pulled my finger, like thumb back over it. And so I tried doing it from like angles up here and angles over here, because when you're swinging the axe, it's going to hit about your shoulder height. And so I was trying to hit it so like the blood would be coming from the proper angles and stuff, and then going all over the place. But like even on the base, you can see the base. Yeah, so that's that. Coming up projects, I'm going to finish off the Corpse Grinders. I'm eventually going to do an unboxing as well as working on these guys, so Cal Jericho and Scabs. Whenever I get the next wave of Marvel Crisis Protocol models, I'll be working on those as well. Yeah, but that's about it. I haven't been super busy with the holidays and everything else, but I'm trying to get us what I can done. I'm trying to get battle reports in as much as I can and everything else. Anyhow, guys, hopefully you guys are going to be enjoying your holiday season. We'll come back with a little bit of a wrap up here. All right, guys, so that's what I am working on. Some other projects that I've sort of been doing here, or sort of researching on the side, which involves my toys, is actually something called toy photography. I always have enjoyed setting up a scene for my thumbnails for my channel and my videos for my channel. So and so I'm sort of stepping up that game a little bit. I've been buying some products. So I have this light that I got off Amazon. It has like a little switch. I can't say switch, but a remote, and it changes different colors, and I can change the intensity through 4 different levels, I think. And so the box came with 2 light bulbs like that, and it's just a little one just to give some atmospheric sort of glow effects. I got a fog machine that I'm going to be trying to use in some of the photos and stuff like that, but I'm hoping to step up my photography game and start taking some toy photography photos. Not is it directly related to any of my hobbies that I do here, but I'll be using those models to help hopefully do some photography and some photos and stuff like that. You can check, I think, yeah, check back Christmas Day. Actually, I might share the thumbnail a little bit earlier than that. Actually, yeah, it'll be Christmas Day. Check back at Christmas Day, and you'll see the thumbnail that I used to take a picture of the Hulk and stuff like that for Marvel Crisis Protocol. I used a couple of different lights, so I just used the light off the back of my flashlight to brighten up the scene, as well as the new light that I got from Amazon, which has the different colors. And I think I used like a purple or a blue. I think it was a blue light in the background, just to sort of give it like a night sort of effect and everything like that. And then just playing with the settings on the camera really helped as well. So it was pretty cool. But I plan on doing more stuff like that in the future. So for the Necromunda with the Enforcers, I'm hoping, and my Ice at Red 6, as I call them, I'm hoping to use those guys and tell like a narrative story is something that I was thinking about doing. And it's sort of similar to what Games Workshop did on the new Necromunda website, where they were, what is the lady's name? I can't remember. Either way, she was teaching how to play, and then there was like a narrative story. So that really inspired me to do it, and I wanted for the longest time since the Book of Judgment came out to do a Enforcers campaign. So I'm sort of thinking that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to try maybe seeing if some of my friends that locally do like drama and plays and stuff might be interested in doing voiceovers for the photos and that. But I'll make like a little movie montage, and then if I ever do get games in with that gang, we'll do like an ad hoc campaign type thing where the movies, quote unquote, the photos with the voiceovers and that will lead into the scenario, and I'll take some shots as to what they're getting into and set it all up and go from there. But anyhow, guys, again, happy holidays. Remember, please check out our Patreon. The link down below allows us to continue to do, well, allows me to continue doing what I'm doing here. Supports me greatly. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, happy 2020.